From the far reaches of space to the darkest places on Earth, join us as we explore the haunted, the cryptid, the creepy, and more. Exposing Reality Radio presents the Spectral Wolfpack Show, your paranormal nightmare, with your host, Alexander Bobolinsky.
What is poppin', Wolfpack? It is me, your boy, and tonight we've got a great show as always. Unfortunately, our original guest had an emergency, so we're gonna have to reschedule with her. But I've got some awesome stuff lined up tonight anyway. So as you guys all know, this past weekend I had a big collaboration with Epic Paranormal, Truth Paranormal, and Just Paranormal, and of course Spectral Wolfpack Paranormal. And it was insane, guys. It was awesome. And definitely subscribe to all those guys' channels, because we're going to have videos dropping left and right from the trip, and they're all going to be a little bit different. Everyone has their own editing style and everything like that. So definitely be on the lookout for that. So anyway, let's get right into it. Tonight we have my good friend Joe Vitale. He's a 24-year paranormal investigator, a musician, and a producer and investigator for the paranormal journey into the unknown as seen on Amazon. So let's bring him right in. Joe, what is up, man?
Oh, it's going, man. How are you?
Hey, it's going too. You know, I think. Are you still drained from the trip? Because I am.
I am. Yeah. I'm still trying to recover from that. Worth it,
man.
But
oh, totally. I didn't expect to be as drained as I was, and then when I got home, I was like, I am out of it and just exhausted. But what did you think about the trip?
it was a blast. That was the most fun I've had doing an investigation in a long time, to be honest. We all come from different places, different beliefs, different backgrounds, and, you know, we got together and we worked together, and, I mean, it was fun, and I think we all learned a lot from one another as well, and that's something that's so worth getting into, you know?
I agree. It was definitely it was just a blast. At the same time as being a serious investigation where we caught some incredible evidence, it was just like, I don't know, like you were saying before the show, Justin Brown did a show about para-unity last night, and that was honestly what it was. I mean, like you said, different investigative styles, different backgrounds, different equipment, and we all kind of came together and just worked together for the greater good.
Exactly. It was quite an experience, and, you know, Hale's Bar, damn, man, it came alive. I mean, immediately.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Before, I want to ask you some questions about your background and stuff, but let's talk about when me and you went into Hale's Bar Dam. It was just me and you, and we were just kind of investigating the tunnels a little bit. Nothing too serious or anything. You had your cameras, and I think I had my 587 Shack Hack, and we were just kind of in there. I remember we were just kind of talking about how it didn't seem too active at the moment.
Right, because we had went there kind of not real late in the afternoon, but we were there. It was still daylight, and my experience with that place is, if I go in there long before an investigation actually gets started and I experience things, or anybody does, then the place is going to turn out to be pretty active that night, and that happened. But, you know, we were in the tunnel. I believe we were getting ready to walk out of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember I had stood up. We were kind of getting our things together, and luckily we still had our cameras rolling. And I remember we said to each other, like, I'm trying to think what exactly we were saying. We were like, or we were talking about how crazy the dam can get, I think.
Yeah, and it just didn't seem very active at that point in time.
Yeah, and then
and then it showed us different.
Yeah, and what happened was, guys, it was to us, it sounds like this old school telephone or some kind of bell rung 3 times, and I remember it rung the first 2 times. It was like ring, ring. And then we kind of paused for a minute, and we were like, "What was that?" And then that third one is undeniable that it's a telephone.
Yeah, that ring was much longer, and there's no electricity in that place. There's no telephones in that place. Yeah, I don't know where it came from, but it came relatively close. The sound came relatively close to where we were.
It was. I'm still trying to process it. Like, what could have caused that wasn't like some kind of... I mean, what do you think about that? Like,
I don't know. I have no idea. I've never heard that sound before. I've heard a lot of different sounds in there.
Yeah.
That, just kind of baffle you. But that's the first time. I mean, I don't know. At first, when I went back and I actually listened to it with headphones on, I thought it almost sounded like metal being dragged across the floor for a very short time.
Mm-hmm.
The second one had more of a bell phone to it. The third one, undeniable.
Yeah, I mean, because it, like, I showed it to Brittany, my fiance, and she thought, she was like, someone made that sound, or she thought like one of us had made a sound or something, and I was like, no, it was just me and Joe in there. And we hear that, and she was like, wow. And my dad thought it was amazing, too. I'm guessing it's maybe some type of residual sound that we were picking up on. I don't know, but it was just amazing that we heard it real time.
Well, it could have very well been residual, but also there is something in there that likes to mimic equipment, and also, apparently it likes to mimic my whistle. I have yet to hear my own whistle, but when I go into the dam, after learning that there's something that likes to mimic, I'll go in there. Every time I go, I do a whistle. But people do report that they do hear that whistle.
Wow.
So.
I remember when me and Eric were there the first time, we heard that flashlight click, and I caught it on video and everything, and it literally sounds exactly like one of the flashlights that I use. And that place is just wild, man. I'm gonna go into some stuff about you real quick, but I want to go back into a little bit of, if you want to tell us a little bit about the history and a little bit more about the dam here after a few personal questions.
All right, that's cool.
So I know this is probably something like, usually everyone asks this, but I do like to get it down because sometimes people have some interesting stories. But what exactly got you into the paranormal?
I actually wanted nothing to do with it. I grew up in a home that had some pretty aggressive things going on. Mm-hmm. I grew up in a, I won't say hardcore Christian home, but my grandmother, she was a very hardcore Christian. Yeah. And everything was always the devil. Didn't matter what it was. Ghosts don't exist. It's always the devil. So I grew up with that thinking, that belief. So, got to make a long story short. The house, somebody come out, blessed the house, got rid of most of it. It wasn't as bad as it was.
Wow.
A friend of mine, we were at a restaurant, and he was joking with me about the house. When he got up to leave, go use the bathroom, but he ended up running into some friends. And the people were sitting behind us. I guess they heard what was going on, and one of the guys got up and started asking me about it. And I just kind of looked at him like, dude, who the hell are you? You know, what do you... You know, this guy was much older than me. I was 14 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of questioned me about it. I didn't want to talk about it. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, you know, we want to know more about it. It sounds interesting, and maybe what we'll do in return is, you know, maybe take you to a place, like a home that they would be investigating, as long as they had seen that it would be safe enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, kind of see what it's really like or whatever. I turned it down, didn't want anything to do with it. I ended up running into him again a couple of weeks later. He proposed the same deal, and I just thought, okay, I'm going to tell the guy yes. What are the chances? What are the chances he's going to call me? Gave him my phone number. A few days later, he calls. He said, hey, you know, we're going to come pick you up. This is what we're going to do, and we'll see you then. I'm like, okay, so I had to actually lie to my parents. I wasn't going to tell them, hey, I'm going to go ghost hunting or whatever it was. You know, they called it back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, hey, this weekend I'm going to go stay the night at a buddy's house. And, you know, they came and got me, and that was that. I was only supposed to go on one, then it became two, then it became three, then all of a sudden, it just kept going with them and going with them.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot. Things were done a little different than they are today. Back then, we relied on less, rather than today, people rely on a lot of other devices and such. So
yeah,
I've always been the kind of person, you know, old school. That's how I've always been. And not that I see that there's anything wrong with people using other devices. That's fine. But for me, and I guess it's what works best for me. Everybody has their own way of doing things because it may work best for them. But for me, I go in, a video camera, digital recorder, maybe a couple little things here and there,
mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Yeah, I actually have a similar style to that. Definitely, I do a lot of the ITC, and so I usually just go in with my camera, digital recorder, and an ITC device, and that's about it. But
the closest thing to ITC that we probably have ever gotten back in the mid-'90s was turning on a TV and putting it on a channel that didn't come in.
wow.
And usually that was after midnight, because at one point at midnight there was nothing on air. Everything had just shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Except I think Canada broadcast longer, I believe.
Wow. Did you guys ever catch any evidence using that method?
Yeah, and it was freaky, to be honest.
Wow.
A woman had come through and said, well, hello.
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, that was kind of freaky to me. I was young. Everybody else thought it was cool. You know, I just got started, and I'm like, okay, that's creepy. I want to go.
Especially coming over like a staticky, you know, TV like that.
Yeah.
Definitely creepy, but also awesome.
And then they would face a video camera, old school VHS video cameras, and they'd face it towards the TV, and they would just let it go for a couple minutes, let it record, and then they would go back and play it back slow or constantly pause the image
Yeah.
to see if they could get like a face or something like that. I guess they have. I've never seen them catch anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
They say they have. So all I know is I got creeped out when I heard a woman's voice clear as day saying, well, hello there.
Wow, I bet. I bet. And about, you said you were about 14, 15 around then?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I got started probably when I was too young. So, I mean, a lot of people think they have an issue with kids under 18 going off and investigating. I don't see a big problem with that, as long as they're not going anyplace dangerous.
Yeah.
All kids, if they're curious, they may see it on TV and want to do that. People say, well, kids, they're not grown, their minds are still developing, stuff like that. But honestly, I could get an attachment, or something could go terribly wrong. For me, just as easy as it would, a teenage kid.
Definitely.
So.
And a few of our friends too have started at a young age. I mean, JP started when he was pretty young, and when I was a kid, I was definitely into it as well. And kids also do things that, like you said, you told your parents you were going to stay at a friend's house, and then went on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Back then, it was like taboo. Like, the only time people really talked about it was, my uncle or my grandparents lived in a home, something like that, that had ghosts in it, and talk about what they had experienced. But, you running and telling people, hey, this is what I do, then you're crazy.
Yeah, it's really gotten a lot less taboo over the last several years, I guess, since it started being aired on TV more.
Yeah. Which I will give credit to TV shows when it comes to making the paranormal mainstream, but it's also a wee bit too crowded in the field, and it makes it hard to go to places that you want to go to, and
definitely
you have a harder time getting cases as well. Which if somebody's looking for a team to come into their house, it's their decision to choose who they want, and that's cool. As long as they do their research on the team and make sure everything is on the up and up with the team, that's cool. But, it definitely makes it harder to get those private cases. So, but, it is what it is. And, even though it makes that a little harder, we still got plenty of places we can go to. So.
For sure. Yeah, there's some amazing locations out there. I hear about new ones all the time. What have been some of your favorite locations that you have gone to?
All right, so definitely Hell's Bar Dam.
Oh, yeah.
Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. Definitely Post Town. The Monroe House. Yeah, Monroe House, St. Albans. Those are my top places.
I still haven't been to St. Albans or the Monroe House, but the other three I have been. Definitely amazing locations.
Yeah, if you like stairs, St. Albans is your heaven.
That was Trans-Allegheny has some stairs, but I'd have to see. I want to get out there, St. Albans. I know Keith from Wake Paranormal has been there a few times, and that place is a is it a mental hospital or a sanitarium or?
At one time, it was an all-boys school, and the main focus was on sports. Like, education came second to sports. Then it turned into, I believe it may have turned into something for women, and then it turned into I believe, don't quote me on this, I've been to too many places to keep up with them all.
Oh, yeah.
I also believe it was a place for mentally ill people.
Mm-hmm.
So that place is interesting.
Definitely.
You definitely have to. I mean, when you look at it, it looks small. Once you get inside, you're like, "Whoa!" It's so crazy. I was talking about, stairs, man. That place is like the stair master. Like, I've never been to a location that had more stairs than that place, for real.
That's wild.
It is, and it just takes you to different parts of the place, and it's like, geez, man. When we had when we filmed there, I went off by myself getting B-roll. Dude, I got lost. I was like, where the hell am I? and it's starting to get dark. This is not cool.
Yeah,
that place is a wee bit intimidating.
Really?
So when it got dark, you're just kind of like, I don't want to be by myself.
Mm-hmm.
The atmosphere kind of changed, and it wasn't the pleasant kind of change.
Yeah. I remember Old South Pittsburgh had a sort of intimidating feeling for me on the 3rd floor, like the newer section.
And the part that intimidates me with Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, it's not easy for me to get intimidated by a place. So, I was rather surprised with Hell's Bar Dam. It's kind of intimidating. Old South Pittsburgh Hospital is the same way as we were talking about. It seems to me when you come in, you have to come in through the back of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the hallway. When you walk in and you hit that hallway, you have the x-ray room. I don't know why, but that x-ray room, to me, not all the time, but at certain times, is freaking intimidating.
Definitely.
And there are other parts, what we call the fake chapel.
Oh, yeah.
That can be intimidating, too, and that's where I've caught some pretty creepy stuff.
In the chapel that wasn't really a chapel.
Right.
Yeah.
The story behind that is the church was re-renovating their building, and they asked if they could bring their pews to the store. They were allowed, and they never come back for them. They just sat at the hospital.
Yeah.
So
interesting. That's weird. Maybe they just got new ones, or
maybe. But I've been growled at down there.
Mm-hmm.
We had actually, unfortunately, my camera wasn't pointed in the right direction. We had this blue flash of light that happened.
Wow.
I thought maybe somebody was getting ready to take a picture with their camera or their phone, and nobody was taking a picture.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay.
I've definitely
that was just random.
I've definitely seen some flashes like that, and it honestly looks like someone took a picture or something, and it's like, but no one with the camera is there, or I mean, I've seen them at my own house sometimes, and my dog even barked at one. It was like this really bright flash from the living room, and no one was there. No idea where it came from.
Right. And so far, the craziest thing I've ever seen was at Hell's Bar Dam, when myself and another investigator literally thought we had seen Jeff walk past us and go down the tunnel. That was insane.
Tell us that story, because that's an awesome one.
All right. So myself, I got invited to join First Paranormal out of Florida. We were all headed in that direction anyways, because there was an event going on at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. So we thought, hey, let's go ahead and investigate Hell's Bar Dam 2 while we're there. So, anyhow, Gary and I, we walked in. Now, I remember Jeff being in front of us before we walked into the tunnel, but he veered off. So it was me and Gary. We were in there for a few seconds. We both thought we'd seen Jeff. I'd seen something out of the corner of my eye, and I looked, and I was like, okay, it's Jeff, whatever. And I went back, getting my equipment ready and all that stuff. Everybody else piles in, and one of the ladies with us said, hey, I hear somebody down there. Gary says, Jeff went down there. She's like, there's nobody down there, and everybody's got their flashlights shining down the tunnel. We're like, yeah, there's nobody down there. And Gary's like, we just saw Jeff walk down there. I'm like, yeah, we literally seen him walk down there.
Yeah.
So there was another Jeff that was there, and he's like, oh, I'm right here. We're like, no, not you, the other Jeff. We were talking about seeing Jeff Holden. Well, Jeff Holder comes walking. He's like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" And Gary and I just looked at each other like, "What just happened?" Like, I mean, we're just stunned.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody's been to Hellfire Dam, you know that tunnel is long.
Definitely.
There's no way you can. I don't even care if you're running. You are not getting into the tunnel or through the tunnel. You still have a mechanic room to go through. You have the switchback. There's another part of the building you have to go through. Then you got to go into the main building. Now you're almost in the middle of the main building. And the main building, we both know, is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got to run out the main building, open a gate, go through the parking lot, which is a pretty big parking lot, and then come back in the tunnel. There's no way he could have done that in like 30 seconds or less. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, seriously. That's so I guess everyone's thinking doppelganger on that.
Yeah. And then once I started really thinking about it, I'm like, I didn't see below the knees. Like, there was nothing below the knees. And I didn't exactly see his entire face.
Wow.
He also had like this blue, almost like a blue glow. Like, if you were to take a flashlight and put it up against your stomach and shine it upwards at your face, it was kind of like that, but it wasn't as bright as a flashlight.
That's wild.
It was bizarre.
That reminds me of something Brittany had seen we were at Maple Hill Cemetery, and she saw something like that with a similar blue glow to it, like a figure riding on a bike, but there was no one there. And that's interesting. I wonder about that, the blue glow.
Yeah, another real interesting place is Benton Farms.
Oh, yeah.
I know Eric has been there. You've been there too, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been there twice now.
Yeah. We were actually filming the show, and Eric was the special guest.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end of the night, I knew, and it's not to make Eric sound like he was scared or anything like that. I could tell he was kind of nervous, which made me nervous because he's been there before.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's nervous, then I should probably be a little nervous. So I just looked at him like, you know what? We need to go. There was just something so off about that place. And the fact that it used to be used as a haunted house doesn't exactly help
Yeah.
how you feel about the place either. But, yeah, that place was strange. I want to go back.
I bet all the fear that has been put into that place has probably helped amp it up.
Probably, I'm sure. You know, I can't say too much about what we had experienced because it's going to be an episode for season 2. And that's going to be an awesome episode.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first time I met and worked with Eric, and I had a blast. Eric totally made the show. Like, that show's, as long as it's edited right, that is going to be like the best episode because of Eric.
Yeah, Eric just brings he brings a different kind of energy, like, to an investigation. It's such a high energy, and I think that it honestly seems to attract spirits to him. I mean, we'll have, through his gateway device, always spirits saying, Eric, Eric.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, you watch a lot of channels, not that I'm like putting anybody's paranormal channel down, but, you know, it's always scary, you know, for some reason. It always has to be scary. Where you watch Eric, there's an element of fear in there, but it's not exactly scary. It's, you know, he makes it fun and, you know, brings a lot of energy. And
Definitely.
I had told Gavin a long time ago, you know, I want him, and I even mentioned you as special guest because I watched you and him investigate together. And it's funny because I'm like, you know, these guys are like the odd couple. You know, there's so much different from one another, but look how they work together.
Yep.
But you know, he got a hold of Eric, and you know, I enjoyed it. I had fun.
I bet.
Poor Eric. I was like, poor Eric. With his gateway. I'm really crucial about equipment and stuff like that. I really am. But I said, what I'm going to have you do is explain, the gateway. Talk about, whatever. I said, and of course, I'm going to probably say something about it. Not anything bad. He's like, yeah, I know. You're going to tear it apart. And da-da-da-da. I'm like, no. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, my God. Do people really think I'm that big of a jerk? That I would do something like that? No.
That's hilarious.
But it was fun, and getting together with you guys, man.
Yeah, man.
I only talked to JP either on Messenger or sometimes on the phone, man, and we all acted like we were best friends for years or something. It was crazy.
I know. It was literally like, and I'm kind of an introvert, but it was like I just felt so comfortable around you guys, and it was like you said, it was like we had been friends for years. We all got together, and it was just like no issues at all.
Right. It was a blast. It really was.
Yeah, we definitely are gonna have to do that again, because it whatever we did, it seemed to work. I mean, we had some breakthrough evidence, I would say.
We did. I'm not ruining anything here because that stuff is already out there. It's on Eric's channel.
Yeah.
But I came with the names of people who had died, and I just recently found more people who have died at Hales Park. And we threw some names out there, and we got results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so, that was awesome.
Definitely, because had anyone before really known any of the names?
No, there was only somebody by the name of Henry, and I believe a woman named Linda. There could have been other names as well, but those are the names that seem to be the most popular with Hales Bar Dam.
Yeah.
Now, so far, I have not been able to find a Henry who actually died at Hales Bar Dam. But there is a Henry who's buried upstream, a couple miles from Hales Bar Dam. Unfortunately, though, the graves are underwater.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
So there's Henry, his wife, Zephala. There's a child, I believe his name was Noah. I'm not 100% on that. I don't have my papers in front of me right now.
Yeah.
So could it be that Henry? I don't know.
Possible, definitely.
Hopefully we'll be able to go back there and get some more answers. And we did get some answers.
Yeah.
But now we have more questions.
Yeah,
so
seriously.
That's how it works. So, and, I'm trying to set something up for us to be the first to go back at a location that's been shut down for a little while.
Yeah. That would be legendary.
That would be great. So, I sent that message off to a friend of mine, and, maybe, we can make that happen.
That would be great.
It would be.
Because I wonder about that, like a location that has been closed and not having people in there all the time. I wonder how it will be if we are able to do that.
So my understanding is that the person who bought that building, they've been in and out of there before it was actually officially bought and thrown out there to the public. Mm-hmm. And they were saying that, wow, it's extremely active.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably because nobody's really been in there to investigate. Yeah. But just saying, I was told that somebody got scratched really bad and they bled.
Wow.
So
that's pretty intense.
Yeah. So, fingers crossed. Hopefully, I can get that set up so we can go back. So
I'd love that.
I guess so. back. I mean, I've been there. I've been to that location like 6 times, and it's always been fun.
Definitely. I know the location, and I've been there once only, but I would love to go back. It kind of it was one of those places that, same with Hell's Bar Dam. When I leave, I like want more. I want to go back, and
right.
Some of those places that like draw you in.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm at Hell's Bar Dam all the time, and a lot of people are like, Are you drawn to that place? Do you got like some sort of obsession or something like that? I'm like, no, it's accessibility. I mean, that's pretty much it.
I mean, also it's such an awesome place that like I want to go back, and not because I have some obsession or something, but I just want to because it's great.
Yeah, for me, where I live, I definitely am not real thrilled about where I live, the state or the city, but I'm lucky. To be honest, I've got Hellstar Dam 4 hours from me. St. Albans is 2 hours from me. I mean, there's a ton of locations that are around me, that are a couple hour drive. There's some locations, that are 5 or 6 hours, which, to be honest, 5 or 6 hours, it's not bad. It sucks, though, when you're driving alone, but, it's really not that bad. So I got a lot of cool locations just hours away from me.
Yeah. That's great.
I've been taking advantage of that.
Yeah. As you should. I would do the same. I mean, I do the same, with living in Alabama. We have a lot of cool locations around here. Not as many that there's a couple that people rent out. You got the old Poly Jail, the Drish House and Sloss Furnace, places like that. But we do have a lot of haunted lore and legends from around here that keeps me busy. So.
Right. I've always wanted to go to the Sloss Furnace. And I've been wanting to go back to the Monroe House, which that is happening in October. So that will be
nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I really want to get up there. I haven't been there yet, but I've heard some interesting things about that location.
Well, we're going to be there October 3rd and the 4th. I've already sent the invite out, just in case you can. Still open.
I'll definitely see how it's looking. September is going to be pretty heavy on the travel for me, so it might not work, but if it does, that would be great. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, September is going to be pretty heavy on traveling for me, and I'm also kind of on standby for certain things that are supposed to happen. So,
yeah,
the end of this year is looking pretty busy and confusing because I don't know who, where, when, or what anything is supposed to happen, and apparently I'll find out like last minute.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah, it is what it is. This is what I chose to do, so I can't complain about it.
Definitely, and I love how each location has its own little unique, unique side to it, and each place is a little bit different. And I just love seeing the places in general, but the things we catch and the things that happen and the experiences make it even better. So,
right. But doing this as long as I have, a lot of people say, think that, going to these locations is probably, my favorite thing. And yeah, it is cool, but also I love going to events and meeting people. That is my absolute favorite. Nothing can beat that. I've met some incredibly awesome people, and I've run into some a-holes.
Yeah.
But that, to me, is the most important thing. It's meeting new people. You know, when I say that I've, been doing this for 24 years, it doesn't mean, I know everything. I'm still learning. And even, with people who are new to the field, I can learn something from them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's another reason why I love going to like events and stuff.
I love it too. I go to a lot of the conventions and whatnot when I can, and that's also the reason I do this show is, to have various guests on and listen to their stories, experiences, and theories, and learn from them, and it's just great. I agree with that about the events.
When you and Eric were up at Post Town, I was like, cool. Eric's there, I'll go. And I seen you were going to be there. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely going.
Yeah. I didn't know until the day of, and then when I saw that, I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. And the group with you, Gwen, Dawn, and Lauren was my favorite group of the night, definitely. It got pretty wild for us up there.
Yeah, it got pretty wild there for a moment, but things got back on track and back at ease. I met cool people there at Post Town as well. So it was even though it was a long trip and it was last minute for me, it was still worth it.
Mm-hmm.
It was still a great experience. But come on, it's Post Town. Post Town's awesome.
It is. Every time I go, it gets a little bit like the first time I went, I was like really tired. There was like an event there, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it. And then I went again. I think I've been there, 3 or 4 times now. I can't really remember. But the last time, I started feeling that like I want to go back here again. This place is awesome.
Right. I've been there 4 times. The first time I went, I was actually with the Paranormal group. We caught some cool stuff, experienced some cool stuff. Then I decided I'm going to go investigate this place by myself, and I did. And that was pretty wild. I was very surprised and very creepy.
Yeah.
When you do this by yourself, I was actually, I don't know if it still holds true now or not, but I was the first investigator to go in by themselves and investigate, from what Daryl has told me. I don't know if that still holds true or not, but it was an honor to do that, that's for sure. Yeah. And I come away with some pretty cool stuff. It seems, usually I investigate places by myself.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they're like, oh, that's dangerous. It is dangerous. You probably shouldn't do it. But I'm Joe, and I'm kind of dumb. And I do things that I'm really not supposed to do when it comes to things paranormal. So,
I can relate. I'm kind of dumb.
So, yeah. It seems like, you hear people's experiences. And it's usually always when they're by themselves.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want to do. Go up and do this by myself and see, what happens. How much more will I experience compared to when I'm with a group of people. And Post Town, she got really active for me by myself. It was creepy.
That's
Same
great.
thing, I investigated Hell's Bar Down by myself. That was freaking creepy. That actually made me think twice about investigating that place alone again by myself. Because, there's some weird things that had happened and things that I have not posted on my channel because it's just, it just seems a little unbelievable, and people will definitely, question those things, Unfortunately, that's the way it is. You got people who fake things, and once that happens, then it doesn't matter if you have something genuine. It's, for whatever reason, everything is fake.
Yeah, you can't please everyone, and just like today when I put up when that Bigfoot video got shared, some people were trying to say that I had people in the woods, knocking on trees, and I'm like, I go out alone. Like, people who know me, no, I didn't even say this to him because I don't care to argue with anyone, but, you know, people who know me, I'm an honest person. I go out alone. There's no way I'm going to have anything like that in any of my videos. And I know you're the same way.
You know, yeah, I seen that comment, and I just kind of laughed.
Yeah.
Because I just thought it was ridiculous. I mean, I've seen you do live streams out in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you really have to be to the extreme careful if you're having your buddies out there doing that, and you don't do that.
No, I mean, there's no point in doing that, I don't think, because we catch plenty of amazing stuff without having to fake anything.
Yeah. I saw also the comment. It was deleted, but JP put out his little trailer for Hellstar Dam, and somebody made a comment about it being fake. That went away real quick.
They said fake?
I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, I was going to respond to that, and you know, it was gone before I had a chance to. People are going to do that, you know.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was with JP. Okay, I was with all of you guys. Nothing like that. You know, no fakery happened. We went in there. We did our thing. We probably had more laughs and joked around than investigating, but we got it done.
Yeah.
And we really discovered a lot of things about that place and what's going on there, who may be there, you know. So
I love that. It was true, like we were saying, true para-unity, and I was gonna say too, back to the thing. I think it's paranormal investigators, like, you know, the like real ones who are honest and everything. Definitely some of the best friends I have, because they are honest people. I'm trying to think how to say this. I mean, they don't take any bull crap. You know, they look at things and like we investigate. We just are honest people and good people. And with all of us together, even though we had the different styles, it was just awesome.
Well, I had said, I have great expectations because how different we are and how we go about doing investigation, how different it is. And I said, I would be shocked if we didn't get anything.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if we didn't get anything, then we did something wrong.
Seriously.
You know, I know a lot of people, and I'm kind of in that camp too. The DR60, you know, JP, he loves to use that thing. You know, I'm kind of in that camp where, you know, I understand, and I know JP understands, you know, the whole debate on it, stuff like that. But, you know, what I heard come out of that wasn't just some staticky noise playing tricks on my ears. Some of the stuff that comes through there was no denying.
It has a vocal tone.
And because I'm actually there listening in real time rather than the TV or just, you know, watching something on, like, YouTube, I'm actually there. And the way things come out when you're actually there through a television is different.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
That, you know, that's a tricky thing with TV because I edited the Paranormal Journey, you know, the first season, and it was very hard to get EVPs to come through clear and loud to where you can understand them through a TV. Everybody uses a different, you know, TV, different setup, whatever. So a sound like an EVP could come out really clear on like one TV or one set of headphones, but on another TV speaker or another set of headphones could sound a little different or completely different.
Definitely.
So, being there and listening, that was cool. And, I did learn something, from that. I did learn something from JP with that recorder. So, I guess I'll tone down my crap talk about the DR60.
I was impressed too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, I don't want to give anything away because we're going to talk about that Friday and stuff. But, no, I mean, like, it was great. I had, the Gateway. I've watched Eric streams and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, whatever, cool. I didn't know what to think of it. Now he's got it there. I'm looking at this thing. He starts using it. What come out of there was undeniable. It called me names.
Yeah.
It said a lot of things come out of there that were just clear as day. So,
Definitely.
Just because you may not like a certain piece of it for whatever reason, just don't throw it away and think that it cannot be used in the field.
I agree.
Spirits can definitely manipulate things. So you just sort of got to give these things, you got to give them a chance. Now, there are things out there that I will not use, certain apps that I will not use, because I know what's been programmed into them, and I know exactly how they work.
I agree with that. I've used certain apps and found full sentences that have been added in and have recorded them twice being said, same sentence. So I really go ahead. You have a novelist. I used to have a novelist 5. I'll go ahead and just throw that out there now. I gave my novelist 5 away for auction for post count. Yeah.
I got in there and started seeing kind of what was going on, and then I programmed it with certain words. Like I deleted the entire word bank, added in some of my own words just to be funny. Well, I reprogrammed it back to give to Daryl, but I forgot that you have a word list. Totally forgot about that word list, right? And Daryl, he tells me, the lady who won that said that it must have been at an adult club investigating, because, like, there were some dirty words on there on the list. I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, yeah, see, here's what I did. So he just laughed about it. I mean, all you got to do is get on there and just hit a couple buttons and it'll delete that list. But, yeah, if I can go in there and reprogram it to do whatever I want,
yeah,
then to me, it's like, it's just randomly picking words, and I don't necessarily think that something is really manipulated. I'm not saying definitively, but in my opinion, I think it's just more of a word randomizer. I have noticed certain lights can set them off. You have like some IR lights.
Yeah.
It can set it off. Just full spectrum lighting, that can set it off. So, I mean, I can't rely on that. Not that I can rely on anything anyways, but that is, to me, it's more like kind of show off. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. See, like, my experience with the Ovilus has been kind of hit or miss. I mean, there has been some super relevant stuff, like, names on tombstones in front of me, or like at my grandma's house, it said grandma like 3 times, and things like that. But it's definitely not my go-to device or anything. I might just have it on or bring it to a location, but I can see that definitely.
Yeah, and it's great for TV because if you might get a bunch of words that mean nothing, but when you go back and edit, you might find a word that may have something loosely associated with the place, and you'd be like, "Oh, look at this."
Yeah, definitely. I've even seen some TV shows. You know how we were talking about it has like the 2 startup words. I've seen some TV shows literally turn it off and back on. They don't show that, of course, but it'll have 2 words on the screen, and then it'll have 2 other words on the screen. And you know how it does. It has like a list. It'll just keep going down the list, or it'll start a little list, but it'll just have those 2 words. They'll do a jump cut. It'll have 2 different words. And I'm like, they're literally just turning it off and back on. And that's not how I use it, but
yeah, with the Obelisk 5 that I had, if I turned it on, dude, like I'd have to like let it set for 5 minutes because it would just like right off the top, word after word after word after word, and I'm like, okay,
yeah,
any day now, I'm want to try this out, but like, the word demon on the Obelisk 5, either that's the MP3 track of number 6, or I think it was number 9. So there are MP3 files on the Obelisk 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you got the word bank that is associated to those tracks.
Yeah.
So
I've wondered a lot about the Obelisk because it's said to detect environmental or changes in the environment, but it definitely doesn't detect EMF, because I'll hold it up to something and it won't do anything sometimes.
Really? Because mine does detect EMF. It'll detect EMF. Even radio stations for some reason.
Maybe something's wrong with mine, or
or maybe something's wrong with mine. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've seen that with a lot of obelisks. They'll be different. Like this one people's, it had a bigger speaker and it sounded different, and but we were getting some similar stuff come through at Post Town. We kept getting Johnny, which is supposedly one of the special ed students.
Mm-hmm.
And on Eric's Gateway one night, Johnny came through so clear, it was insane. It was just like, Johnny! It was like, whoa!
Yeah, I can see Eric now. Whoa!
People always joke about how when like doors slam or something like that happens, and Eric will be like freaking out. Not like freaking out, but he gets excited.
Yeah, he gets excited.
And I'll just be like, chill. Like, super
yeah, I'm
chill.
like the same way. I'm the same way, unless it's something like, weird.
Like the bell. Even with the bell, though, we were both pretty calm about it. We were like, what was that? Like Eric would have been like, holy crap, what was that? And then something else probably would have, all the spirits would have rushed him.
But, yeah, I mean, if he had a correlation with the obelisk and his gateway, then, then maybe something was, going on. We can't, a lot of, and I've been guilty of this too, we throw ourselves in this little box and reject other equipment that's used for whatever reason. And we really shouldn't do that because we're dealing with something that we don't even understand ourselves.
Yep.
Apparently anything is possible in the paranormal. So, I mean, if the spirit is able to manipulate a light switch and make the lights flicker, just giving an example, then why not certain apps or other pieces of equipment?
I agree. I'm always game to try anything, you know. That's how I am. But there are certain things I don't like to use anymore, like certain apps, things like that. I'm just more of a radio guy.
You know, and you know, when like I'll talk, like, you know, the Ouija board.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Ouija board. You know, it wasn't exactly by Parker Brothers or whoever designed as a way to like contact hell. There is definitely a difference between a board and a digital recorder.
Oh yeah.
The difference being that you have to actually connect yourself to a Ouija board. With a digital recorder, you just set it down, walk away, ask questions. But a lot of people, they don't like boards because they have a bad rap. And if you really think about it, not, you know, a very small percent of people have had a very bad experience. I know if you get on YouTube, somebody's going to tell me something completely different, but most of those are fake,
Mm-hmm.
or they were used as a a publicity thing for a movie that may not even come out here in the United States. Maybe, yeah, maybe something for overseas, or, you know, Netflix or something. But you know, a small percentage of people have actually had really bad experiences with one. If I was to make a digital recorder and specifically package it for paranormal investigators, and some people had a very bad experience during an investigation with it, then people might look at that digital recorder and be like, whew, that thing's just as bad as the Ouija board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's really, there's more fear for the Ouija board than there really honestly needs to be. I mean, I personally don't use them. I have, you know, I'm not saying I never have, but you just sort of have to be careful, you know.
Oh yeah.
A lot of it is intent.
Real quick, before we close it out, on that note, if you would tell us about some of what you do to protect yourself, you know, during an investigation or before and after.
Okay, so when I investigate, I don't think about what could possibly happen to me. Actually, I prefer something to happen to me besides being possessed, killed. But I do have this little St. Michael's, I don't know what you want to call it, it's blessed, apparently. That's the only thing I have on me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, when I leave a place, I don't do anything. I pretty much just come in with, you know, the little St. Michael's thing and leave with it, and that's it. Having an attachment or anything like that is extremely rare. If I find that there is an issue or there is a problem, you know, I'll go and get that taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
I've only had something extraordinarily bad happen to me once. Yes, there happened maybe twice where something, and one of those places was actually when I got back from Post Town.
Wow.
And something kind of like followed me, but it didn't last for very long. So I really don't do too much to protect myself other than the little St. Mike.
Nice.
If you worry about it too much, then you probably have a greater chance of, you know, something attaching or something potentially bad happening to you.
I agree with that. That goes into just your own intent and putting it out there. Like for instance, like if I think a day is going to be bad, it's probably going to be a bad day.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, and I think that's great. And I remember at Post Town, the St. Michael's, I guess it's like a sort of a small coin. I remember it saved the day.
It may have. Who knows? you know, you never know. I just know that, you know, when that incident happened, I handed it to that person, and everything, you know, that person, you know, calmed down, and everything was fine.
Yeah.
I do think that something profound happened to that person that was affecting that person. So maybe that did help. I don't know.
Yeah, we really, you know, with a lot of this stuff, we may never, we may not know, but it just, sometimes it just makes sense that how it went down, you know?
Right.
But before we close out, let everyone in the chat know, and of course future listeners, where they can find, you know, your channel. I've got it in the description of this if anyone wants to click it and subscribe, but also just let everyone know where they can find your stuff.
Oh, yeah, well, it's just simple. One place. YouTube, man. Truth Paranormal. That's where I have all my stuff. More stuff is coming. I'm slowly making changes, making videos, spending a little more time on my videos, making them a little more professional.
That's awesome.
But I've got all kinds of cool stuff, and check through some of the older videos. You guys will be surprised at who I've investigated with, like Keith H., Randy Hardy from Deep South Paranormal, Chris Booth, and there's more. So just kind of go through there and just check out those videos.
Yeah, man, we're going to have to get you on here again sometime, because there's definitely more that we can talk about, and yeah, I'd love to have you on again. And also, everyone, Friday on my YouTube channel, we're going to try to get the Paravengers, you know, together for a little night of fun on the live stream. And also, Joe, you have a video from the Hellsbar Dam dropping Friday, right?
Yeah, it'll be I'm going to do them in sections. So we got the first episode from that coming Friday.
Awesome.
That'll be 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Great. That'll be awesome. And maybe when we start the live stream, we'll definitely share that link, and that way anyone who's there can see that. But anyway, man, we're going to close it up here soon, but thank you so much for coming on last minute and talking to us. And let's do it again sometime.
Definitely.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm sure we will be talking in the group chat. But you have a great night, man.
All right.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right, guys. That was paranormal investigator Joe Vitale. There was a lot more I wanted to get into with him, so I'm going to definitely have him on again. But I do like to keep these podcasts, you know, about an hour, maybe a little over, and just keep it at that. So we're going to have him on again, definitely, because, you know, there's a lot more I want to ask him, and a lot more to find out. So definitely stay tuned for more, as always. Unfortunately, our original guest had an emergency tonight, so, you know, everything's okay, but, you know, keep them in your prayers, everything like that, and I will get her on the show again as soon as possible. Next week on Wednesday at 7 Central, we've got Ernest Solar, and he is a Bigfoot investigator, author, and I met him at the ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Conference, and he's a super cool guy. I'm actually reading a couple of his books to prepare for the show. He sent me them on the Kindle. His book's Well House, and I forget the other one. Let's see, Sasquatch. Let me see. I'll mention it in the next show, definitely, because I can't pull it up right now. But if you search for Ernest Solar, you can see his stuff, and he's a super cool guy. Showed me some amazing photos some very cool footprints, things like that. So if you're into the cryptids and the Bigfoot research, you'll definitely not want to miss next week's show. And also Friday, like I said, we're going to get Joe, hopefully JP, Sean, and Eric. I'm going to try to get them all. At the very least, it'll definitely be me and Joe. And I know JP will stop in. So we're going to get together on Friday on the YouTube channel. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. We're going to get together, do some ITC, talk paranormal, have some laughs as well. It's going to be a lot more loose. So definitely stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for coming out. Be sure to subscribe to Truth Paranormal. I put the link in the description, and that's Joe's channel. And I'll see you guys at the next live stream podcast. I'll see you guys somewhere. I know I will. All right, guys. Have a great night.